Hello, my name is Emma. I'm a practicing Catholic and I'm also going to a different house of worship every week. This week we are going to Church of the Nazarene, which one of you actually recommended to me, so I'm excited to go see it and I'll take you along with me. I do have to admit I'm filming this a couple weeks later just because life got crazy, but I'll take you through some of the things I learned about the Church of the Nazarene, my first impressions of it, walk you through the service, and then my takeaways from it. So first thing, just doing some Googling about the Church of the Nazarene just because I didn't know that much about it. It has roots in Methodism, and it started kind of as a denomination, as kind of a movement in the late 1800s, early 1900s. There are three core values right now that are Christian, holiness, and missional. Something else that I thought was really interesting was that this is also a global church. It's not like the Catholic Church that has like a head in one place and everyone answers to, but it is still present in over 100 countries, I believe. And at this particular church, they have a practice at the beginning of each service to pray for the church in a particular country. They talk a little bit about it and its membership. The way I found this church was just by Googling, and I found one in the Loop in Chicago, so this is perfect. And interestingly, it met at the pastor's apartment, which is something that I had never done before, because usually when you think of church, it's like at a specific building. So I'll maybe put a picture of the website on here. I don't want to put like a picture of someone's apartment online, but I got there and it was really nice of the pastor to come down and greeted me, like took me up to the apartment, and it was him and his family, and then another pastor came in, and that was it for the whole service. And apparently usually they have a few more people, and it was really cool. The pastors knew every single person by name, and they were talking about what was going on in their lives. We started off, we had a prayer over dinner, so again, like praying for that part of the world, and the pastor's family had made dinner, which was really nice of them. And it was really cool because I had never had a communal meal, so in this case supper, as part of a church service. I think sometimes we'll have like coffee hour after or a meal after even, but this was actually integrated within it, which I thought was really nice. Throughout supper we were just getting to know each other, so I heard a little bit of the pastor's story and his family, and they were asking about me, where I came from, my faith background. And it was really cool to be able to build that much connection just through this, because I think normally you're kind of anonymous in church services. After dinner, it was just me and the two pastors at the dinner table, and we just dug in. So it was very informal. They had pulled up the readings from the lectionary. I looked this up. So something that I think is cool about Catholic churches is that we have the same readings in every church on the same day, everywhere in the world. And I didn't realize this, but a lot of other churches have a similar thing where they standardize the readings that you see. So this lectionary that they had, and I noticed this at like the Episcopal Church and the Lutheran Church, that some of them overlapped with the Catholic readings for today, or for that day. And so this one I looked up, and I believe it was the second reading, so it was one of the epistles. It was the 1 Corinthians, overlapped with the Catholic readings for the day. But it was cool. There was a very clear theme to these readings. So this one was about loving your enemies. First thing that I thought was really cool about this was being able to hear all of the thoughts and the connections and the questions that were coming to the pastor's heads as they were reading. It wasn't really a prepared sermon like you might see in another church. It was, they prepared a couple thoughts and then we just discussed. And something that I noticed was a big theme in this church was being in the world, the importance of being aware of current events, and also your role to care about them, and also to play your part in them if possible, in considering how you can spread your Christian faith and your values through those events. So caring for the poor, standing up for the oppressed, like all of these things that we say are values as Christian were very prominent in the pastor's discussions of these loving your enemies passages. They really encouraged me to ask questions both about the passages themselves and also how they implement it through their faith as Nazarenes. After that, there was a breaking of the bread. So the pastor and his family had made a loaf of bread, and he was saying that it was the body of Christ. And then they also had, I think it was grape juice. And what I thought was interesting was that this was available to everyone. And I think maybe it was because we had established that we were all Christian. But he offered it to his young toddler, which wouldn't have happened at a Catholic mass, but he also offered it to me. And as a Catholic, I was like, no, I probably shouldn't, but like, I really appreciate it. But I did think it was nice that they invited me to participate as much as I was comfortable with. So I think overall takeaways was, one, the importance of living a life of holiness and being in the world, doing God's work, being the hands of God, however you want to say it. Two, I loved how homey it felt with being welcomed into someone's home, with sharing a meal, being able to really build the personal connection. I didn't feel like I was being preached at all. It felt like they genuinely just really wanted to get to know me. And 3, I think in the same way, I really liked the intimate setting. It definitely felt pretty weird coming from like a more traditional Catholic background, but I saw a lot of benefits in it. Overall, as different as it felt, I left feeling so grateful that I had found that randomly on the internet and that I decided to go and they welcomed me. And again, like a big God moment. But yeah, I think that's all I have for Church of the Nazarene. Next week, I am planning on going to an Assyrian Church of the East, which I had actually never heard of before I got invited to go to the service. So very excited for that. And I'll see you next week.